Hello and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 415 at scavengerlife.com.
So, we are renovating this building on our main street. And I was outside the building, kind of taking a break, and I was talking to this guy who I know, he runs a business on Main Street. It's like a little fix-it shop, like a small motor shop.
Yeah.
And he was, I don't know, it's weird. He was telling me that he had bought all this land in town, and he wanted to make like a Harley Davidson motorcycle shop with like campgrounds, and he was complaining that the town wouldn't let him do it. He was like really upset about it and like really angry why everyone was stopping him. And I was like, well, why, what do you think the problem could be? He's like, well, I do get a lot of bikers come, and some of them are in gangs. And I know that, they have a lot of money because a lot of them sell drugs, And I was like, well,
what?
And I was like, well, don't you think that maybe the town, because we live in a really small town. I don't know how many police are here, maybe under 10.
Yeah, not very many.
I mean, it doesn't seem like a whole lot. I mean, like, don't you think that maybe they just don't want that kind of business? He's like, yeah, but, and I was just thinking, it's all about, I think when you run a business, it's all about like having to be really honest about what's going on at your business and why things are happening, and being honest about why people are reacting to you in a certain way. Right. I mean, for instance, we know someone who's starting an Airbnb up in Canada, like an Airbnb rental. Right. And he messaged us because it's new to Airbnb, and he's like, these people I know, they got suspended from Airbnb. Right. Like, why is this allowed? Like, this is an outrage. It's so horrible. And so I asked the thing I always ask people, like, why do you think it happened? Did they say? And he's like, oh, they didn't tell me. I was like, well, why don't you ask them?
Yeah, there's got to be something. Suspended? Not saying they did something bad, but something happened. Before
you get outraged or afraid or whatever, because he was afraid because he's starting to put his business on Airbnb, and he doesn't want to get suspended. And then a couple weeks ago, he came back and said, well, I talked to him. They're back on Airbnb. What happened is that they had a security camera in their property. And that is like, for Airbnb, that's a huge no-no,
Now, it was in the house is what you're saying. It wasn't like outside.
It was a security camera anywhere in or around an Airbnb is a big no-no. Like, there's a lot of articles recently coming up around it where people are renting Airbnbs and finding cameras like in the home. So that's a big no-no.
Okay. I have questions.
Sure. You're allowed to have cameras.
Right.
In public spaces if you put it on your listing that those cameras are in existence.
You have to disclose it.
Because then people can be like, I don't want to be somewhere that has cameras. I mean, obviously cameras can't be in private, areas, parts of the house. Right. But then I was trying to tell them, look, they did something wrong. Like, instead of them being outraged that Airbnb, took them off for a couple of weeks, they should be like, yeah, they did something wrong. Right. I always remember that story of the guy who is in our town who I would see at the flea market. He would buy things like we would, and he was selling them on eBay. So I'd always ask him about it. Oh, yeah. And I remember one time I asked him, so how's eBay doing? He's like, I quit that thing. I quit eBay. That scam. Because he said he sold a jack to someone in Texas, and they didn't like it, and they wanted to return it. And I just ignored them, and then eBay just gave them their money and let them keep the jacket. So I just quit eBay. It's like, look, you got to do returns. You're like, well,
that's not how the business
like
is
he
run.
was unwilling to have any kind of like honest talk about what's going on. And then the final thing I remember, Terminal 99, Will, we had interviewed him as a seller, and he's on YouTube. It's like us. Yeah, he posts videos all the time about stuff he finds and sells. Yeah. He, goes and just gets all kinds of crazy, weird stuff and sells, and has a huge store. he started to make these videos several months ago where he was saying that eBay was suspending him.
Right.
And I remember in the comments, people were getting mad, and I only found out because people were emailing me, being like, "Have you heard eBay's denying him the right to do business? Like for no reason, they're just taking him off." And I'm like, "Well, why do you think it's happening?"
There must be a reason.
There's no reason,
right?
So I emailed Will, and I was like, "Yo, people are saying you're getting suspended for no reason." And what it was he signed up for that. Web interpret.
Oh my God.
That thing that's up on your dashboard that says like sell globally instantly.
Which you already kind of do.
And it's like this third party program that eBay's pushing, and they duplicate all your listings and put them on like eBay
UK,
Spain, Germany, Australia. And he had such a large inventory, like 10,000 items, that it turned out that there were items in his inventory that weren't allowed
in those countries.
Right. That like he had some tool that eBay Spain thought had been a knife.
Right, right.
And in eBay Australia, they have just very strict rules about how pieces of
like leather and things like that.
Yeah, and things can get categorized. So he immediately just started getting hit with all these violations, one after the other, that cascaded, and he was shut down for 30 days.
Super crazy, because you're like, this is an eBay program that they push.
So I totally get that was not cool. eBay, number one, they're pushing a program that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And number two, he's got a good history with eBay. They should have cut him some slack, but it is what it is. But it didn't happen out of nowhere, And the good thing is he then made a video where he explained it all.
Yeah.
And his thing about being honest was he did the good thing was he was honest. He was like, I didn't really know what I was getting into.
Yeah.
I don't really blame eBay. It's kind of too bad. But he said, I used my suspension to I put a lot of things on sale and got rid of a lot of stuff. And I got rid of one of my employees to just kind of scale back some and rethink things.
The weird thing, I know we're on a certain topic, but the weird thing about web interpret whatever is if it duplicates your listings, we have a 10,000 item store, we have 8,000 items. And when they start duplicating those listings, are you getting charged for every single listing under eBay? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't really know. I think that it's like a free program for a certain amount of time, and then there's some fee for it, and I don't really know how all that works.
Because what happened to me with Web Interpret was I clicked on the link because it was some email. I didn't sign up for it. I didn't do anything. I just clicked through and then shut the browser tab, and they automatically signed me up for it.
Right.
And
it was like a one click without...
Right, and I got 500 duplicate listings in a day that was this is listed, this is listed. I was like, what is going on? I had no idea what it was.
So just getting back to the topic was, for us, we're always we're always talking and sometimes arguing about what's actually happening with our business.
Right.
If something goes wrong, why did something go wrong? Was it us? Is it someone else?
Right.
And I feel like with eBay, it's doubly true because there's so much a mystery. eBay in some sense is this black box that you put items in and you don't really know why aren't people watching it, why aren't people buying it, and we all know the eBay community of forums and a YouTube, people get so mad and paranoid, and it feels like a lot of people's eBay businesses become only about trying to figure out who's making them fail instead of just trying to solve the issues,
Yeah, of course. It feels different than a brick and mortar store, but when you have a brick and mortar store, people still have those theories. Why isn't anyone coming in? Why, whatever,
Yeah, and, we do it too, where sometimes we're just we don't know. That sometimes is the answer. I don't know why this thing is happening.
Right.
But what do we have control over?
Yeah.
And what can we actually do about it?
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So I just feel like being really honest about what's going on is so important.
Yeah.
And when we do something wrong, you know, we fess up to it and figure out a process so it doesn't happen again.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, well, that's the ultimate goal, is that you're like, how do we have that not happen again? I mean, that's true with every business we run, where we're like, oh, that didn't work out very well for whatever reason, whatever it was.
Right.
How can we do it better or not do it again?
Right.
Totally.
But, you know, so it's like that guy who said he bought all this land and wants to build like a biker camp. I was telling him, like, well, maybe you should go to the town and say, you're not trying to build a biker gang
Hang out.
You're trying to build a camp for people that ride motorcycles, you know? So it's just kind of
obviously.
It's how you talk about things and just be honest with people instead of just, I mean, this poor guy, he was just so mad, and I'm just like, you know, you've got to be honest about that. They have a right to be worried about, having like drug gangs in this little small town.
It's just weird because I don't automatically think of drug gangs when I think of Harley Davidsons. I think of people who are retired who like bought a Harley Davidson. I'm like, that's my first thought. So I'm not quite sure where that comes from, but
I think
it's just kind of funny.
All kinds of bikers. Yeah, he told me the name of the gang.
Oh wow,
of the guys that come into town.
Okay.
Anyway, so.
That was my topic. Great topic. That was my topic.
Well, let's talk about eBay. Let's see if we can be honest about things.
Yeah.
You found out that there is now a refund when you re-list? Is that right?
No. Okay. No. You're reading that backwards. When you refund someone, now I've noticed this is on like half of the things that I refund. Not every single one is like this. There's a little checkbox that's like, oh, you're refunding this person? Would you like to relist this item automatically? Yes, of course I would. I think that is the culprit, that did not exist for so long that a lot of people have items in their inventory that are not listed on eBay.
Right.
Because you get a return, you refund, you put it back in your inventory, but the crucial step of actually relisting it so it's for sale again does not happen.
So back in the old days, you
just have to manually find the item in the solds or however you're going to find it, click on it, and then up top, it's if you're signed in, it says relist.
Yeah.
But now there's a checkbox like refund the person and relist this item.
Right. There's like a story going around in the community, and has been for a long time, that eBay doesn't relist items all the time, you know. So over time,
stuff just gets dropped.
Stuff starts to drop out, you know. And
it's a rumor.
I don't know. I mean, people have these stories where they have actual experience where they, for some reason, go through all their items and they say, you know,
50 of my items are listed.
Weren't listed. I mean, we have 8,000 items. I've always said what we should do is go and pick a 50 random
and make sure
items.
They're listed.
And just see if there's still
not a bad idea.
You know?
I mean, I have sold some stuff that I can tell because of the photos. Like, you took photos in the office. That was a long time, years ago. And, we'll sell something like that. And I'm like, well, it was listed. It's still listed. It was listed. It's sold. So that gives me hope that some of that older stuff is still listed. And
I feel like every so often we're getting stuff to pack, and I'll see an old item and I'll come back in and I'll check it out to make sure that the price isn't too high.
Right. You're like, oh,
and
yeah.
I've never picked one up and it hasn't been online before.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
And then returns, speaking of returns, people on the forum were talking about eBay now. If someone doesn't like an item, I guess back in the old days, a buyer could request and say, I want to return this.
Right.
And it gave you the opportunity to just say, well,
partial refund.
Here's a refund.
Or a full refund.
I don't want it back.
Just keep it.
It's broken.
I don't want it shipped back.
And that eBay's taken that away, where now when a person doesn't like an item, they can just return it immediately.
Yep.
And you don't have that option.
I haven't gotten a return this week, thank goodness. So I haven't seen that as a thing. Because normally you have this like checklist where it's like, are you going to buy a label? Are you going to message them? Mm-hmm. Are you going to give them a partial refund? Or are you going to give them a full refund? And usually I just like click the box to buy a label.
So how is it on Amazon? Like if you do, because I know.
Yeah, on Amazon it's like this. You have an item. You don't like it. You say, I don't want this. I ordered it by accident. You will pay for a label. If you say they sent the wrong item or this item's defective or broken or damaged, you get a free shipping label. You don't talk to anybody. Right. It's like the label is God.
But sometimes I feel like the people we bought it from just hand us our money back. I mean, has that happened before?
Has that happened before? I guess if you say I forget. I mean, I'm trying to think the last time I sent a damaged item back. I don't think they usually want a damaged item back.
Because I feel like, especially if you buy something from the Chinese people in China, they don't want some
right. They might just
item.
Give you it right. Exactly. I've experienced that on eBay where I'll buy something from China, a little tiny electronic thing that I'm like, I only want to pay a couple dollars for this. It comes damaged.
It's free.
And you just have to be like, you show them a picture. This got crushed from China and they just are like, fine. Obviously they don't want it back. But
So correct me if I'm wrong. So let's say a buyer doesn't enjoy an item.
Right.
And they say, I want to send it back.
Yeah.
And they can just print a label.
Yeah.
If they don't actually ship it,
right,
that a label gets refunded to you.
It should
automatically.
Yes. So, once the case closes, which I call to have cases closed after the 5th business day, so it's the 6th business day, you can call and get it closed. Or if it automatically closes after 30 days and they never shipped it back, it will close and you should have a refund on your invoice.
So you only get charged when it actually gets scanned, right?
Yep, exactly.
Okay. So maybe that could be one thing is that if someone doesn't like an item, they print a label.
And then they sit on it.
You can write them and be like,
right.
Don't send it back. Here's all your money,
and then that case gets closed,
and then that label
should just be voided. Okay. Yeah, I think that's how it works.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
Yeah,
because that's the thing where if they print the return label and it just never gets shipped and then it's been the 6th business day. I mean, I've had cases closed where they're like, yep, they printed the label, but they never actually sent it. So we're going to close this case.
Yeah.
Although they will reopen the case if the person throws it in the mail like 5 days later.
Right. So
it does get reopened.
Right. It doesn't actually get closed.
It's not actually permanently closed, but...
Okay, gut reaction to the week.
Slow.
It was slow.
Deadly.
It was for us. It was a double whammy of we had very few sales, and the sales we did have
low dollars.
Were low dollar. Like our average price was about $30.
That's right. But then
but I mean, we had sales. So many $12 sales.
Oh my god!
$18 sales.
Look, also this is what's. I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist or anything, but I sent so many offers. I send offers twice a day, and I try to do a good percentage off, but not so much that I'm like giving stuff away for $9. Barely any offers taken.
Look,
I'm just like I don't know.
I'm now a gray beard as far as eBay goes. We've been through this enough.
Years.
It's summertime.
Summer is slow.
June. I remember we had one year, 4 or 5 years ago, where we had a June and
we were just like nothing and selling
$600 and $800 weeks. I mean,
like the lowest. I have to. You look. We can go back and look at our numbers over the years and see.
Yeah, I mean, I need more data points before I start freaking out. But we have a lot of stuff. We have stuff on sale. Yeah. We send offers. I'm
listing stuff. Yep. I mean, all the things are happening. So
okay, things we sold. We sold a winter coat for $80.
Yes, that was an offer.
Summertime.
That was an offer.
Jay, why would a winter coat sell in the summer? Because they do. So
because I sent a pretty good offer.
We sold a golf bag for $70.
I think that was a counter offer to my offer because I sent an offer for that, and then someone sent a counter offer.
And I mentioned that because when we went to an auction a couple months ago, a month ago,
I got two of them.
I bought two of them for $1.
Oh wow!
Nobody wanted them. I'll be like, I'll take them. I
sell travel golf caddy things pretty well.
I think
when
we sold
find them.
Both of them.
Yeah, we sold both of them.
Yeah.
I love how our first two sales, I'm like, no one's taking any offers. I'm like, I'm pretty sure those are both offers I sent. Well, you know why? Because I'm like,
it's the percentage.
I sent like 250 offers and like 2 things sold. You're like, what?
But that's the percentage.
It's just what it is. I mean,
percentage of how it is.
It's not nothing.
Scavenge of the week. So recently, I feel like, not recently, but we've been talking about it. We've really just been doing, I'm now calling it convenience scavenging.
Yeah.
Where we're scavenging just when it's convenient. It's always, we're on the way somewhere else.
Yeah.
Let's stop and grab some stuff.
Yes.
We're driving home. Oh, look, a yard sale.
Yes.
Let's just stop.
And the reason for that is we are right in the middle of finishing a renovation.
Yeah.
Like, that is taking all our time.
Well, I just think it's interesting because I wonder if other people do the same thing too. Like, sometimes we're like being very proactive.
Right.
We're like, I'm looking at auction schedules. We're planning our week around actual scavenging.
I put an auction on the calendar last week and we did not go.
I know.
But we were very busy.
Yeah.
So.
But the thing about convenient scavenging is that we're finding cool stuff and we're listing it.
Yeah.
But most of it's really
low dollar.
Bread and butter.
Bread and butter.
But that's a better way to put it.
I'm sorry,
sounds
not
delicious.
Yeah,
bread and butter. So, and to be honest, it's with ourselves. When we do this, when we have, a 3-month period where we're just convenient scavenging.
Yeah.
And we're just putting bread and butter items in our store, that shows up 6 months down the line because
in a week like this,
where we can't be surprised when why aren't we selling $100 items?
Something sells for $18 and you're like, well, I had something in my store for $18.
That was from convenience scavenging.
Yeah, what I don't complain about selling something for that price if that was in your store.
Right.
I'm telling this to myself.
Yeah. But again, the good thing for us is that we're juggling priorities.
Yes.
And I really do love that eBay can still fill in the blanks, even when we're kind of just convenient scavenging, kind of
just listing on.
Yeah, it's kind of like second tier. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't even say how much we made this week.
I don't want to hear it, but yes, okay.
$895.
All right, at least it's $800. At least it's not $500. I thought you were gonna be like $500.
We have had those weeks, but when we're not making $1,000, I'm just like, oh
my god, it's pretty bad.
But that is what it is. Customer issues. This is the second week where we've had no return requests.
No return requests.
Which is very nice.
I closed a return because someone didn't ship something back. Someone shipped a pair of boots back from a couple weeks ago. And I refunded him. Actually, it was kind of great. He was just like, I didn't like them. I'm like, great. I don't have to return your original shipping. So that was helpful.
Yeah. An honest buyer.
It's like, okay.
Okay, things we learned in the forum. First, we want to say we want... it's Susan to get better.
Yeah, she had a surgery.
The wife of Mike from Atlanta.
Mike in Atlanta.
Yep, they are a couple. They work together.
Yep.
For many, many years.
Sounds like she's recovering and doing well.
And that's a great thing. If you have a good eBay process, you can buy it yourself time to recuperate.
Yeah.
Like if one of us ever got sick and we had to be out for a couple months, we'd
be okay.
We would be okay.
Although I'd have to teach you how to pack everything if it was me.
I would teach our cats how to.
And cats, you're so lazy.
Oh, by the way, happy Father's Day to everyone, and happy Cat Dad Day too. If you're a cat dad, Father's Day.
Yeah,
to the cat dads.
Yeah, like you don't have children, but you have cats. Yes, it's Father's Day.
Yeah.
I did call my dad. Thank you. I did my duty.
Good for you.
Tomorrow's my birthday.
Yep.
My dad always says, so when I was born, which was in 1979, I am 40 tomorrow. I'm 40. I'm saying that.
Okay.
Most women don't like to say their age.
Okay. You look great for 40.
My dad was like, "You're a young 40," which is hilarious. I'm sure he's like, because that makes me like 72. But he was like, "You are the best Father's Day gift," because in 1979, June 17th was Father's Day. So like, "You're the best Father's Day gift." He always says that. Thanks, Dad. That's funny. Cute. Yeah.
Okay, one thing. So, a new seller came on.
Yes.
To the forum.
Yep.
And I think it's a she. She was like, "Okay, I'm trying to learn. I'm just trying to get into this. Can I just start searching to learn about really what question. Sells? What should I be...
what should I be buying?
Well, not only that, but can I just learn in general? Can I just do some search words so I can find out what items sell and how much they sell for?
Sure.
And Inglewood came on and said something good. He said, I'd suggest you learn as you go when the item's in front of you. If you find something that is interesting, then research that. If you get a box of stuff, go through and research every single item in it and list it.
Right.
All of that part.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to learn what may come to you one day in the future, just learn what is in front of you at the moment,
That's what we did from day one.
So he says, I find it's best to learn about things you will come across often than learn about those things and become an expert,
Right. We started with clothes, which a lot of people do, and we were just became, in quotes, experts on vintage men's dress shoes. You're like, okay, I will tell you why this one is different than this one, and this one will sell for more. Because that's what we were finding. I mean, I actually really don't find that stuff very often where we're shopping. But yeah. And so that's how we built our business, on every little tiny thing. I mean,
that, the whole goal is just to go to a yard sale or a thrift store, use your gut judgment, pick out things that look cool.
Pick out things that are interesting to you,
then come
that you
home
would buy.
And then research those specific things and be like, oh, this thing is actually garbage out of here. This thing's really cool. And what I will do is we'll find a vase.
Yeah.
And we'll research it. And then in the searches, I'll be like, okay, the one we have is $50.
Right.
But in the solds, there are ones that are $500. Right. And then I'll read about that.
Why is that one $500?
Yeah, why is that one better than the one that we found?
Because this is the one that's from the 1800s.
And then the next time I see that, I'll get it.
Yeah, you kind of put it in the memory bank, okay.
And I will never forget James, our friend.
Yeah.
That we had interviewed for this podcast. He told us, if you spend an hour reading about something, it's researching an item, you will probably be an expert more than 75% of the population on the planet Earth.
About that item.
Just in an hour of learning. Right. And then he's like, if you spend, a day and reading about an item, you'll probably be 90% more knowledgeable than everyone on the planet.
Right.
Because people just don't know. And then he says, if you read an actual book
about some depression glass or whatever,
you will probably be an expert of more than 99% of people on the planet. It doesn't take a whole lot of research to become a quote-unquote expert.
And basically what you're trying to do is be thinking, you don't have to be an expert on men's dress shoes or whatever, but you're like, do they sell? How much do they sell for?
Right.
If I buy this for X amount, how much will I sell it for later? Because you want to have those calculations on the fly. It's not that you want to actually write a book about it or teach people about it. It's that you're just like, can I do the calculations as I'm like scavenging out in the world? And
like I went to the flea market on Saturday.
Yes.
By myself.
By yourself, which is great. I was like fun. Still asleep when you were there.
And I love it. It's like what someone had said once. It's kind of like you have a RoboCop or Terminator
scanning
where I can walk by a table and just kind of scan it and be like, yep, there's nothing here. And then, but then I'll go by a table and someone has something cool and I'll pick it up. And I'll ask the person, what is it? Yeah. And people love to talk about the things that they find. And I learned so much. Even if I don't buy it, I will, put it in my head and then I'll come home and research it and be like, oh, it, sells for a lot or it doesn't.
Right, yeah.
So that's how we learn about things.
And, just over time, you start like, again, for me anyway, what's interesting to me, I can look at a shelf of glassware, whereas 10 years ago, I'd be like, oh, this is all garbage that should go in the recycling. Like, nobody should even be looking at this. But now I can, like you said, I can scan the shelves and be like, that's weird. That's interesting. What is that? That's different than just this, like, regular juice glass
and
from
I'm totally
Walmart.
Different. I do not like glass. I haven't even learned yet. So I don't, it's all still junk to me. But it's something that is interesting to
me. Yeah. I try to be very particular about stuff like that where I'm like, this is a cool, weird pattern.
Right.
So I'm going to grab this, or this is a really nice brand and a nice color. I think someone like me would be searching for it.
Right.
Look, I have like 3 huge shelves worth of glass and ceramics that haven't sold.
Right.
But, stuff sells every week, really.
Yeah,
so
right. I mean, we just have an inventory. It's deferred income.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Is what it is.
Very deferred.
And what's interesting to me, I was thinking about it today. You don't buy like rings or jewelry anymore.
No, not really. They don't do very well for me.
Really? I thought that we would sell stuff.
Oh, well, okay, so here's the thing. So I did buy a bunch of it. It got listed. I cleaned out my jewelry because I just had stuff from, honestly, the last 20 years, stuff I hadn't worn in a long time. Some of that stuff sold. Some earrings, a really nice necklace that I had that had like a sterling silver piece on it. That sold. It just doesn't move very fast for me. It just doesn't...
I feel like I remember when you did it there was like a 6-month period, and what you were finding were not pieces that were gold or a silver, although
it was like costumes.
If you could find that, you would find the costume stuff that had like a name on it, like if it's signed, and I feel like it always did well, but maybe if you're not
I'm just like, I'll look at the jewelry cases at the thrift stores or wherever, and I just like glaze over because I don't know. I'm not seeing anything. It just looks like a lot of garbage. Yeah. I'm not seeing anything that's precious.
I will say we talk about $1,000 items. That was one of our first ones when you sold that.
It was a Bakelite necklace.
A necklace for
$1,300. I think I sold it almost overnight. Yeah. I think I paid like $3 for it.
Yep.
Because I saw it in a case and I was like, oh, that's cute.
Yep. Crazy.
What?
Yep.
I wish I tried to reproduce that over and over and didn't.
I know, right?
I'm always looking for Bakelite, butterscotch Bakelite. It's so hard to find. Sold, and I think the market is oversaturated at this point as well. Yeah. But yeah, so I don't know. I guess I had a large thing of jewelry that was my own and stuff that I had been like hoarding, and my helper just listed it a couple months ago, and I've been slowly selling little by little. But I mean, the thing about jewelry though, it's great because it's tiny, so you can store thousands of pieces of jewelry with an inventory system, obviously, in a very small space. And it's super easy to ship too. You're just like wrap it in bubble wrap, put it in a box. There you go. You know.
Yeah.
It's not, I
know people have dreams of just having stores where they only sell scarves.
My mom is like, she's like, I just want to sell scarves and jewelry, and you're like, cool, all right, like.
It's a good business if you can make that happen.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the final thing in the forum Nancy came on and she pointed people to a YouTuber. It's this couple, but a woman's the one in charge.
Yeah.
I don't even have the name of it off the top of my head. People have to go into the forums and ask about it. But she does it's basically like home shopping network for
on
her
YouTube,
own eBay store, where she just shows stuff that she has for sale.
It's so funny.
And it's all like little gewgaws, little cups and little vintagey things. And there's a way for people to buy them on eBay. Like she does auctions, but I guess
so funny.
People actually watch it and want to buy it.
But it's so funny because it's
so interesting.
I think part of the conversation was people should do this as a way to sell stuff.
Yeah, the conversation started with, should I start should I
start a YouTube channel?
A sell on Instagram.
On Instagram, yeah.
And, there's all these different ways to sell. And that's what I said. I was like, people can sell everywhere.
Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Other places. Kijiji, Craigslist,
Yeah.
People are just selling all these different sites.
Right.
And you can sell anywhere, but it's all time. I think it's cool. I'm surprised someone hadn't thought of it's before, but I guess people want to be entertained, like a home shopping network thing. But that just takes time too.
Yeah, it all takes time. Like any platform takes time.
Right. And so, if that sparks joy for you.
Does it spark joy? I sold something on Craigslist this week that I almost forgot about till we said Kijiji. I don't know why. I had this color laser printer. This is a funny story. This color laser printer, I bought it in Bend, Oregon on Craigslist for $30. I went to this woman's house because I needed a print. We were doing Amazon FBA on the road, and I was like, I could really use a printer. Plus, I want to buy myself a color laser printer, and there's someone down the road that has one for $30. And I shipped it home.
And we printed labels
for Amazon
in this Airbnb we were in.
And then I shipped the thing home to myself. The thing weighed a ton. And so I bought it for $30. I used it for a couple years too. And I actually found another color laser printer on the streets of New York. I think you found it. The thing weighed a ton. I shipped that to myself. A better one. I thought the quality was a little better. So I actually sold that laser printer for $30 on Craigslist. Yep. So I got my money back after, several years of using it.
That is
it was really funny.
Scavenger high,
Yeah. It's I love selling stuff on Craigslist. Even if it's like $30, you're just like, that's great. It's $30. It's free, no fees.
Well, I'm glad you feel that way because I have
so much stuff to sell.
Quite a bit of furniture that needs to be sold.
Craigslist in our area is so slow.
Yeah.
It takes so long. Stuff does sell. It just takes several months and several people to be like, oh, I'll come pick it up. And then they don't say anything.
Cool. All right. Well, let's go to questions that people sent in.
You can email us an audio file. Our email is thescavengerlife@gmail.com, or you can call our voicemail line. The phone number is 540-407-8486.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Terapeak calling from Philly, and I just wanted to thank you guys for all that you do. When I first started doing this, I had about 10 items. I'm not even sure if I had a store, but you guys just gave me the most practical advice. Now I got about 2,000 items. And my store. It took me a long time to do, but I'm in secret competition with you guys, so trying to catch up to y'all. I just had one statement and one question. My statement was, I don't know if you guys ever heard of the website. It's called PickClick, PickClick.com. And you might have to Google it because when you try to go straight to the domain, it's weird. But it helps with searching the prices, the popularity of eBay items. I think it only goes back 60 days, but it gives you a lot of helpful tools that isn't available on the site, like the popularity, the rating of the seller. So I don't know if you guys use that, and doing your research. Like, somebody might sell $1,000 item, but they only been selling for a week or so. That affects the pricing or what they're willing to take or whatever the case may be. So that's a good resource that I came upon, and I just wanted to share it. And I also was sitting here thinking, when you guys are doing your net worth, do you guys include, like, if you ever done your net worth? I know you guys not really number people like that, but do you guys ever count like your eBay store or your eBay inventory into your net worth numbers? I know right now I got like $40-something thousand worth of inventory. I know that from off of the active listings page, but I'm not sure if that would be like included in my net worth. I know it's random, but it just was something that I was thinking about. All right. Thank you guys for all you do. I look forward to your response, and I look forward to, more content from you guys. Appreciate you a ton.
Cool. Thanks for calling in. I always like to hear people who we've never heard from, and they say they've actually been listening for a while.
Yeah.
And I like to hear that they say, I didn't have a lot up, and now I do.
Yep.
And
2,000 items is a lot of items.
I mean, the only thing we might have added is just kind of a bit of like, just list.
Right.
Other than that, people are doing the work themselves. So that's cool. Number one, he talked about Pick-Click.
Pick-Click. Now, I think so the reason I know about Pick-Click is because last summer eBay deleted a bunch of people's photos, and couldn't recover them. And, the Google Cache was where you could grab your photos again, and Pick-Click. Because I think Pick-Click basically just scrapes eBay. I don't know if you can buy stuff. Like, I've seen pictures of stuff on Pick-Click and then click through and it just goes to eBay.
So I just checked out Pick-Click. I think it's just one of the sites that some guy built. And what it is, it's referral links.
They're referral links back to eBay.
So I put in some item and it showed me items on Amazon and on eBay. Oh. And so I think that when you click through... And if you were to ever buy...
He gets a referral
24
fee.
hours, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
Well, if you're finding more information about items, that he's saving information longer than eBay, that's helpful.
Yeah.
The other thing, too, that I would say that eBay does not do a really good job announcing this, but Terapeak is now owned by eBay. And if you just go to Terapeak and log in through, if you have a store subscription, you can search, I think it's a year's worth of stuff, which it's been helpful to me if I have an item and I'm like, this is a weird thing, not many people have it. Is it worth $20? Is it worth $1,000? So that's been helping me when there's rare items.
On the forums, Sonia said that she likes to use Terapeak.
And look, it's free right now.
Someone was actually asking about if they think, what's that other site that people use? WorthPoint. If that's worth the whatever $10 a month or however much.
I think it's $30 a month. People are going to be like, it's not $30.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like we can always find the right info just through eBay or Google.
I've always just used eBay completed.
And, honestly, to me, when data gets to be 5 years old, I don't feel like that's helpful because... The market can change in that length of times.
I think when it's valuable is when you find a named American artist or any kind of artist. I mean, that's the time when people are like, how much did their stuff sell for 10 years ago? That could possibly be a good indication.
And if I'm remembering right, a lot of times what's helpful, I'll search for an item on Google and a WorthPoint page will show up. And I don't really care about the price. I just care about the info of the item itself, and then you can copy and paste that kind of info on some weird vintage item.
Exactly.
And then the other thing he was talking about was your net worth. Or, I feel like that's not really that helpful. Like I'm going on our eBay Seller Hub, and if you go to your actives up top, it tells you how many items. So we have 8,446 items. It says... If we sold all of those
at full price
today, we would be about $485,000.
Yeah.
But as we all know, we rarely, we don't always sell things at full price because of offers and sales. And
it takes a long time to sell, and so you're like, is my inventory worth that much? I hope so.
We don't really go by like that. But I guess it's an interesting number. Like, it's interesting to see that 485,000. We've definitely not spent anywhere near that much for
our inventory. Not even close. Like not. But so that is that's an aspirational number clearly, right. Where you're like, sure, I would love it if everything were worth that much and we sold that much.
But it's like we said, for us, it's all about income that we'll make in the future at some point. Right. Every single item
consistent income.
Listed.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Hi, Jay and Ryan. This is Mark the Shark from Central Connecticut. I called some months back asking about plotting software. Well, I have found one, and I've been remiss in getting back to you sooner to tell you what it is. It's called En Route. Small I-N, capital R-O-U-T-E. It works pretty well. How it works is I guess it's called pin your location or waypoints along the software, and then you order where you want to start from and where you want to finish, and it organizes them in the easiest way to get from place to place. You get only 5 waypoints free with the basic trial software. There's other subscriptions in which you get up to 25 or 100, but hopefully I'm not going to need to do that. However, I end up using Waze, and the reason I do is with En Route, you need to pin the waypoints, where with Waze, you just slap in an address as long as you have them written down on an index card, and it'll tell you how to get to the next location. The downfall of Waze, if you've used it, and I think hearing you guys you have, is it's coming up with these ads every 3.5 minutes to carpool. Well, if I was carpooling, I wouldn't be using Waze on my own phone. Anyway, thought I'd just get that information to you. Thanks.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, he was asking about if there's an app where if you wanted to spend a day going to, I guess, a yard sales or flea markets or a thrift stores, could you just plot all those and then
go in and
put
order.
Your phone in your car and then just go and order. So I just checked it out. It's En Route and it's care of apps.
What's funny about that is, like he said, it's kind of a pain because you have to pin it. Whereas what you and I actually have never used Waze. I know about it. I see Lyft drivers using it and stuff, but what I would love in Google Maps, I know you can kind of do this in Google Maps, is do multiple. You're like,
you can totally do it. I mean,
but does it like organize it in order? If you're like this address, this address, this address,
you have to put it in the order.
Right.
Like I'm here, I want to go here, then I want to go here, I want to go here, and it will walk you through it.
Yeah.
I guess just it's for us, we don't really make it that complicated. We're like, I want to go to that thrift store.
Yeah.
We go to that thrift store. And then we're like, I want to go to that one. And then I Google that one. Right. So, I just build the map as we go.
Yeah. Well, what it would be useful for, and what we used to do when we were like looking at yard sales in the newspaper, is if you have like 5 yard sales you want to go to, you're like, what's the most efficient route for these? Because I remember I'd be like, that's kind of close to here, so let's do that area, and then on our way home we'll go to that one. Whereas you could just be like, here are all the addresses, tell me the most efficient way, and let's start at home and end at home.
Yeah.
And like do a circle or whatever.
Well, I know when we were really into thrift stores, we aren't really into them at this exact moment. We would go to like a new part of the state or something,
right? And
we would be in a town, and I would just go to Google thrift store, and it would show you the 5 thrift stores, and then I would just go to each one. It's really kind of amazing how we all have these tools now.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of amazing.
Super cool, and you can search on your phone for the price of an item, and you can scan things.
It is amazing. I agree.
And people can ask me questions. I can look at the weather. It's great. Okay, that's it.
Okay, you can check out our blog at scavengerlife.com for the links we discussed and to join the conversation on the forum. You can listen to our other podcast, shampooandbooze.com, that I am rebooting with my sister Ashley. We talk about short-term rentals, Airbnb rentals. We're actually giving away some of our services right now, just so people can see what we're capable of.
You're trying to find someone who needs some help, so you guys could document that, and so to show people, right?
Yeah.
What it would be.
So basically what I want people to do is send us photos of your place or send us your listing if you already have your Airbnb listing, and we want to do a little like design critique or advice walkthrough, and we'll be ever so kind.
And all super positive, you know.
I just want to, if someone's like, what should I do with this room? What should I do with my space? I'm like, cool, that's what I love to talk about. Okay, you can leave a question or a comment on our voicemail line for Scavenger Life. The phone number is 540-407-8486, or you can email us an audio file. Our email is thescavengerlife@gmail.com.
And it's not just people that have questions. We would love, like Mark did, we would love for people to, like if you have some comment.
Or a story or whatever, we love to hear from you. We post an episode every Monday morning. On Wednesday, we post a What Sells video, currently being brought to you by Steven Schultz. You can subscribe to our Patreon account to support us for as little as $5 a month. You can subscribe for free, as always, through iTunes or YouTube, so you always get the latest episode. We are ending this podcast in 3, 2, 1. Bye.